Yes, yes. All right. It's Happy Friday. Happy Good Friday, by the way. Beginning of April, first quarter's done. My name is Glenn Stein with Realty Executives in the Villages and in Ocala. Of course, you can see our website, buysellthevillages.com. And if you have any questions about anything we're going to talk about today, 352-572-3796, 352-572-3796. That's my number. Realty Executives in the Villages are actually #1 in the MLS system. We've got some of the best culture. We've got some of the best agents, realtors, very productive, high producing, but more important than that, they actually care. So very caring group. So if you need a referral, if you need to find a great realtor here, either to help you find something in our area or help you sell something, sell a home here, just let me know. You can give me a call. Also, we do property management. So if you've got a home to rent out, either long-term or seasonal, either one. Season this year was actually, talking about pros and cons today. One of the cons this year was actually the season being kind of a dud, right? About 30 to 35% of our properties were rented. Normally during season, January through March, we're 100% occupied. This year, not so much. A lot of it, obviously, because of COVID, not everybody had their vaccines. Most of the people now, it's relatively easy to get your vaccine, and folks that are in the retirement age in our community are feeling safer about things, so much so that we're completely booked for next year during the season. 2022, we're completely booked. So that's one of the cons for this year. Obviously, the pro, if you're a seller, prices have started to climb, and inventory has dropped dramatically, as we've talked about it consistently over the last year. And what we've seen is, look, we were in the mid 400s. Now we're under 200. We're in the 190 range on homes that are available in the villages. That's probably about 55% decrease or decline in inventory, meaning people are buying at record paces. We've never seen a market like this around the country. I'm seeing it pretty much everywhere. I've got, by the way, I'm not only the broker for Realty Executives, I'm a coach for the Tom Ferry organization, and I work with people in Alaska. I work with people in the Cayman Islands and everything in between. So I'm really familiar with how the markets are in the West, in the Northeast, in the extreme North, in the Midwest, in the South. So what's happened here in the villages is it's finally caught up to us over the last 90 days. And the plus, obviously one of the pros is that if you've got a home to sell, even if it needed some work, it might have taken a little bit longer to sell. But we've seen those properties that were on the market for 3, 4, 5, 6 months that were kind of the not so hot properties now have sold, and a lot of those properties have gone. The best looking properties are selling pretty fast. Ones with maybe some privacy, maybe it's got a view, or it's, you can eat off the floors and the condition of it is really nice. Those homes are obviously selling much faster. And in talking to many of my top people, the homes that do have a view, the ones that are kind of the specialty homes, are the homes that the prices are just, they climb sharply, right? The price increase or the appreciation has really climbed. So you're looking at, homes that maybe last year were worth $550. This year we're putting them on the market for maybe $625, and we're getting multiple offers, and it's going to $675. That's a very real thing and a very real example of some of the properties that we've seen. But of course, that's not every property, right? Like that's worse. I've coached some people in California. They were seeing a lot of that in California. Here, the norm, the typical is, the $250,000 home might get, or the $350,000 home might get, there might be a couple of offers pretty quickly if it's nice, and there could be some competing offers, and it could go up $10,000 to $15,000. So that's a good thing. That's a pro for a seller. Some of the cons, obviously, are some of the minuses, if you will, are for the buyers that are in competition. Some people don't want to be in a bidding war necessarily, but I think it's something you have to get used to. Might have to look at removing some of the contingencies. And my recommendation for buyers right now is you're really not in a catbird position. The sellers are in a catbird position, and they really do have most of the leverage, most if not all the leverage in negotiating at this point. Right? You can be an amazing negotiator, but in a seller's marketplace, extreme seller's marketplace, not just a kind of a market, a seller's marketplace, which is what we saw about actually last year. Last year was not an extreme buyer's marketplace. It was probably still slightly a seller's marketplace, even through COVID and some of the lockdowns. So that's a thing that we have to look at. We also have to look at what the numbers are saying right now. So the 7-day numbers at the moment are basically, they're basically saying that properties are moving still at a fast clip. If you think about what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, the typical numbers have been pretty much, mid-30s, 35 to 40 properties coming on the marketplace, new listings in a 7-day window, right? New inventory coming on the market. And then about somewhere between 60 to 80 properties that are leaving or coming off the market, almost a 2-to-1 ratio. And I've said this privately to my own group here at Realty Executives that I want the market to slow down a touch. And of course, sellers don't want to hear me say that. And a lot of my agents like, shh, don't say that, don't say that. And I wish that, because I like a little bit more balance, right? I want to make sure that there's enough inventory. I know more people are going to be moving down and leaving where they're coming from. Some of you might be coming from California. Some of you might be coming from the Midwest, Northeast. Most of our people come from east of the Mississippi, but we're seeing more and more people come from the West because of the values, because of the price. The pricing here, a lot of the homes that are selling in California are selling for $600,000, 800,000, 1.6, 2.6. I mean, larger values, and they can get incredible value here, even though the prices have crept up. And I think that's a pro and a plus for a lot of buyers. That I don't think the pricing is where it's going to be later on this year. In other words, they're still lower than I think. I think it's about to shoot up a bit, but for now, I think you can get a pretty good value for, being in Florida, no state tax, great community. There's a lot of great things. I think we've been undervalued for years, for sure. But, to close out the point, on the pending properties, 59 pending properties, which is, I think, about 10 less than last time I checked, which is about a week ago on the 7-day numbers. And so it's still larger than the active coming on the marketplace, Easter being on Sunday. And as I've mentioned before, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen post-Easter, what's going to happen the rest of April and the rest of May, to see what happens there, to see what kind of gap or what kind of difference we're going to see between what's coming on the marketplace and what's leaving the marketplace, and what's going to be the deficit in inventory, to see if it's going to keep dropping, or it's going to level off, or is it going to increase now that season is pretty much done. But also this market, so historically, the last couple of years, it hasn't been a very seasonal market. It's been very, very balanced. So look out for that. The last number I want to give you is that there were 68 closed properties, which includes obviously the end of March. And we had a lot of closings. And I'll give you this last point, just in wrapping this up. The title companies have been completely booked, like record number of closings in our marketplaces here for sure. So questions, call me. My name is Glenn Stein, broker owner, Realty Executives in the Villages and in Ocala. You see the website, buysellthevillages.com. For anything pretty much from Ocala all the way south, you can Tampa, Orlando, Sarasota. You can gain access if you just want to browse around, no pressure. that type of thing. It will ask you for information, your name and your email and phone number, but if you don't want to give it, it's okay. Like it's not the end of the world. Or you can give a fake one, right? You can do that. Is there one village more popular than the others? Typically right now, that's what Rock's question is. Typically right now, between the sixes is still the most popular. We're getting more and more traction and more popularity south of 466A. And what we're seeing is pretty much the turnover ratio and the sales, south of 466 a little bit better than north of 466. But there's not one village that is better than another. Because there's different reasons people move, because their friends are nearby, or they want to be closer to one village or another, or pricing could be an issue, or they like the look of the north because it's more mature landscaping, or they like the look of the south because it's a younger population and it's closer to the turnpike, so we could be at the airport in 40 minutes. There's a lot of different variables. Or I want to be further north because there's more shopping and more established restaurants, even though that's coming for the south. So there's a lot of variables to consider for sure. But for anybody that has questions about what's next, stay tuned. Call me if you want to. You can also follow me, probably follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well. Find me there. And until next time, happy Easter, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Take care.